potentially a historic trade, and I think it kind of puts the Rams in an interesting conversation where are the Rams, the 26 Rams, the closest thing to a super team we've seen since Brady and Moss got together? Charles Cross, Abe Lucas, Trent Williams, Colton McKivitz, Paris Johnson, Elijah Wilkinson. Those are all the tackles in the NFC West. I have a feeling there are at least 6 iPhones being replaced today. Because if I got that notification, I'm throwing my phone at the wall. Aaron, you owe it to the people. We want to see this. You can't post all these weight room videos where you look like a G.I. Joe. I know you can still play. Dude, I woke up this morning. We were going to do a mailbag pod, but we got news.
Is there a trade sounder? Should be a trade sounder.
Let me see what I got. I haven't really worked the... Okay! You know what Les Snead said? She don't want no puppy. She want a big dog. They got the big dog, dude. They got Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett is heading to L.A. The news broke just a bit ago. We don't have the full trade haul, but it looks like the Browns are getting Jared Verse along with a 2027 1, which is essentially a 2 because the Rams are going to win the Super Bowl now, and a lot more. We don't know what the a lot more entails, but there's definitely going to be a lot more. We've been talking about Myles Garrett getting traded probably for 2 years now. I've been begging Howie Roseman to make the move on this show, and I will say I definitely bothered him about it on his personal phone more than once. The Eagles and the Rams were rumored to have been in the race, and the Eagles couldn't pull it off. The Eagles, I think, are more mired in the A.J. Brown trade, which sounds like they're just going to get a 2028 1. I told you it's not going to be a Waddle haul. I told you that. But anyways, yeah, so that leads us to today's show, which we're going to be talking about basically 2 of the most important teams in the NFL, the Rams and the Giants, because the Giants made a lot of news this weekend as well with the softball game. And today signing Juju Smith-Schuster.
And Odell Beckham.
Odell Beckham as well. Giants making news. We'll start with the Rams, shall we?
Yeah, best player in ball, huh? Yeah.
I would say
Any
so.
debate?
I would say so at this current juncture. I just looked at 125 and a half sacks in his 9-year career. I said to you, we were looking at the list of I think there's an interesting take here to be made, which is that the Rams are going to, if he, and this is not a far-fetched scenario, but plays another 8 years and accrues 100 sacks, which for most people, that's laughable to project that onto a player. But even into his 30s, I think this guy could average 12 and a half sacks the rest of the way with the Rams, especially if the Rams continue to play well and the Ty Simpson thing works out and all that stuff. But let's say he plays another 8 years. The reason I picked 8 years is because Julius Peppers played 17 years. I think you're going to look up at the end of this thing and say, Myles Garrett breaks Bruce Smith's record, and Myles Garrett has 100-plus sacks on 2 different teams, which I don't think has ever happened before. I didn't look it up.
Definitely not.
It's definitely not, because Bruce Smith has the record with just over 200 sacks, I think.
200 on the nose.
That had to be cool to be Bruce Smith and be like, yeah, if I could just get one more, I'll get 200, and I'll call it a day. That'd be a good one to end on.
Only 45 guys ever have gotten to the century mark.
Yeah, and the list is growing. But Myles Garrett, I think the take I had was I think the Rams have one of the most storied histories when it comes to defensive line play in the NFL. I say that as a player who used to see, hey, where are you on the list of all-time sacks on a team? And there's some franchises where 50 will get it done. You'll be in the top 3 or whatever. You do 50 with the Rams, there's 7, 8, 9, 10 guys ahead of you, and this list is just going to get bigger. And then also you have to consider that when they tally the sacks and they put you on a list of players with the Rams and sack totals, they're not counting Merlin Olsen, Rosie Greer, Jack Youngblood, fucking Deacon Jones. Like, the Rams have a fantastic history of, edge tackles, just pass rushers. And if Myles Garrett ends up with 200 sacks and, has upwards of 80 or 100 with the Rams, you're going to be looking at, him right up there with Aaron Donald as two of the best to ever put on the uniform and play that position, defensive line, with the Rams. So I think on a lot of levels, this is it's potentially a historic trade, and I think it kind of puts the Rams in an interesting conversation where I asked you guys this, and I don't know if there's an answer, and forgive me, I've had the news for 5 minutes, but are the Rams, the 26 Rams, the closest thing to a super team we've seen since, I don't know, Brady and Moss got together? But when you look at their entire roster, the fact they had holes, they were in the NFC Championship game, and lost to an incredible Seattle team last year, but they went out and got Trent McDuffie. They go out and get Myles Garrett, two elite players on defense this year. They went out last year and got Devontae Adams. They, acquired Matt Stafford famously in a trade. They really have put together a team that's going to be hard to beat in 26. It almost feels like there's almost too much pressure on them.
Thought about that. With the Super Bowl being held in
LA.
SoFi Stadium.
So, it's wild. It's like when everybody picks their Super Bowl winners or the NFC winner this year, like, it's going to be pretty chalky to put the Rams in there. But it's going to be hard not to do it. And I say that with all due respect to, a Seattle team who I think their fans, rightfully so, feel like they have a great chance of being right back in it. I did this with the Eagles last year, just so you know. That's, people say I'm an Eagles homer. I didn't put the Eagles in the fucking Super Bowl last year. People gave me shit for it. It's hard to repeat. It's hard to get back to where you were. The Rams have been there. They weren't there last year. They had these players this year. I also think they have the best defensive line in the league. I think they have the best defensive line in the league right now. I did rank those defensive lines. I'll get back to you on that in a couple minutes. I think this solidifies them as having the best defensive line in the league, and that's with them sending Jared Verse back to Cleveland. So
I think your preseason Super Bowl picks are a good barometer for whether or not you have a super team. And it's been a couple of years where you were comfortable riding the Chiefs in on a regular basis. And before then, it is, I would say, the Brady Pats. But this is going to be across the board. I'm curious to know how Nate Collins, for instance, will zag on this one.
It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see. He's going to say the Rams will lose a game this year.
Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, got you. Yeah.
Super Bowl.
To be fair to Nate, he did put the Pats in the Super Bowl last year. So sometimes you scratch that lotto ticket and it works out. But it's hard not to be chalky right now and say, like, damn, this team's going to be tough to beat.
Health of the quarterback.
Health of the quarterback's huge. The Ty Simpson succession plan, you never know. He might have to play some games this year. I mean, Stafford's only getting older, and we've been kind of every year wondering when the next shoe's going to drop. And we always talk about a quarterback ledge. Like, it's hard to see, but the ledge is always steeper than you think it is physically.
Are we going to hear a little revisionist history now that we didn't go get somebody to help now at 13 because we knew we were going to do this?
No, see, forgive me if I don't understand the question, but I think this solidifies what they did in the draft. Like, to me, it makes more sense.
For sure.
Yeah, it makes more sense.
Yeah.
And you get those picks next year that you don't need for a quarterback. You ship some to Cleveland. You go for it all. And you have a guy waiting in the wings. Like, a lot hinges on does Ty Simpson end up being the guy. But even if he's not the guy and they win a Super Bowl this year, that's you got to understand, like, these things, they mean a lot. And, you might mortgage the future for one. And this would be the second one that Les and Sean have been able to win. So
it could be two.
Yeah, you never know. And speaking of Jared Verse, you got to do winners and losers from this trade. I wrote a little list down. We'll start with the losers. There are a lot of losers in this trade. Let me tell you. Charles Cross, Abe Lucas, Trent Williams, Colton McKivitz, Paris Johnson, Elijah Wilkinson. Those are all the tackles in the NFC West. I have a feeling there are at least 6 iPhones being replaced today. Because if I got that notification, I'm throwing my fucking phone at the wall.
Yeah.
You know, we got to see Trent Williams and Myles Garrett battle out last year. That was fun as fuck. That was so fun. We'll get to see that twice a year. I know that Trent's excited about it. He'll do it. It'll be fun to watch. The NFL media traversing a home Super Bowl for the Rams. That's going to be tough to get around in that city. That was Nolan's submission. Shador Sanders. Inevitably, we're going to get some takes that say, like, they're sabotaging Shador Sanders. That's what this whole trade's about.
Hold on a minute, players. More available hotel rooms in LA, yeah? Because everybody's staying home?
You're right about that. Possibly more hotel rooms.
Okay.
And, you know, counterpoint, nobody in LA really gives a shit about football. And I'm not talking about Rams fans. I'm talking about most of the people in LA.
It could be Chargers, Rams.
I'm telling you, dude. Denzel Ward and Tyson Campbell got a little bit harder to do y'all's jobs as corners for the Cleveland Browns. Like, that was the saving grace. You're living in Cleveland. You're playing for the Browns. You're not winning a bunch of games, but damn it if my job isn't a lot easier because I got this guy Myles Garrett rushing the passer. For my football team, you don't have that guy anymore. Todd Monken. Hear me out. He's not going to be here when this pays dividends, dude. This is, for Todd Monken, it's an awkward thing. You know, it's a hard enough job. You get the Cleveland job. You got to act like you're excited about the quarterback room, you know, which he hasn't been able to stay in character on that thing 100% of the time. Remember his quotes about OTAs and just not being able to hit broadside of a barn in underwear. I think in 3 years, when they're really reaping the benefits here, Todd Monken won't be anywhere near Cleveland. He won't have the big office in Cleveland.
Counter.
Oh, yeah.
They've had Myles Garrett, and they've won 0 games, 7 games, 6 games, 11.
That
8,
is
7, 11, 3, 5.
But it's non sequitur. Todd Monken is the subject here. Todd Monken's not going to be there. It doesn't matter whether it's a valid move to make. I mean, we've been arguing this move for a couple of years because Myles Garrett's not going to be, you know, I said that on one hand, I just said, hey, Myles Garrett's going to play another 8 years and average 12.5 sacks a year. But on the other hand, are you going to be able to be as good on a timeline where he's still there if you don't ship him off? You know what I'm saying? So I think for the Browns, this makes a lot of sense. For Todd Monken, not going to be there. Jared Verse, obviously a loser in this thing. Welcome to Cleveland.
Yeah.
And he's a good player, man. He's a good player. Like Jared Verse a lot. He's played on a very good defensive line, on a very good team. Now he's kind of the main event in Cleveland. Although there's some other good players on the defensive line, don't get me wrong. But things just got a lot different for Jared Verse. The NBA, a bunch of losers today. Get the NBA Finals coming up on the heels of one of the best Western Conference Finals we've seen in my adult life. An emerging superstar that could probably be the next guy in the NBA. They've been desperately needing the next guy to have a high approval rating. It seems like everybody likes Wemby a lot. Mm-hmm. You got the Knicks on the other side of it. And I'm opening the show with this trade. Everybody is talking about this trade. Nobody's talking about the finals right now. Howie Roseman. Can't win them all, dude. Can't win them all. Winners. Myles Garrett, financial advisor. Holy shit. Like, seriously, when you think about the fact that, like, they have – this guy has played in the basement his entire career. The earning potential in L.A. is going to be insane. And everybody, Myles Garrett's a household name. Everybody knows who Myles Garrett is. You're going to get to see Myles Garrett in prime time. Winner, NFL fans, dude. NFL fans get to watch Myles Garrett play for a change. Because be honest, how many of y'all, if you don't have Red Zone, and if you're not a degenerate gambler, or worse yet, living in the Cleveland area, rooting for your hometown team, which has got to be a motherfucker, when do you watch Myles Garrett play? 2026 Rams, they're obviously winners. 2028 Browns, we'll call them the baby Browns.
Like little pebbles.
That litter is going to pay dividends. The litter in 2028, like this is going to be a very valuable litter, dude. So yeah, I mean, like I could do winners and losers all day here, but I think the Rams are the closest thing to a super team we've seen in a little bit. And it's also worth noting that they do have a cash fluid organization. Stan Kroenke is rich as fuck, and so they can make moves like this and convert things to signing bonuses, put money up front, and finance moves like this where some teams wouldn't even be able to do it. So
plant some trees like the Clippers.
Yeah, that's right.
Get creative.
No, but their practice facility is a little, you know how LA is, like it is a little ways away from the stadium and traffic sucks. So, yeah. But just, I mean, like what a move. I'm blown away. I wish I had more to say.
I need to know the whole haul. It might be a few days. Need to know the whole haul.
We need the whole haul.
I figured it'd be somebody on the other side of the ball too.
You think?
Well, no. I think when they say comma and more, one, they don't know.
I think it's picks.
And two, it's going to be
picks. I want picks. If I were the Rams, like who am I willing to part ways with, and who would the Browns be able to actually use? You can't use a pass catcher. That's not exactly like. It's not exactly what you. It's not a strength of yours.
Rams have 2 running backs
providing passes that can be caught. You're not shipping offensive tackles. You're not packaging offensive linemen that can help you right now. The other thing is this, and I've been texted about this. I've been texted about this. I think it's time for Aaron Donald to stretch. If Aaron Donald came back and played for the Rams, I mean, I know he could still play.
On the minimum.
It would be the most fearsome unit. I don't know. It's hyperbole day. In ever. You quite possibly the 2 best before it's all said and done at their respective positions. They could play together. Aaron, you owe it to the people. We want to see this. You can't post all these fucking weight room videos where you look like a G.I. Joe. I know you can still play. Time to stretch, dude.
I've got another loser.
Who?
44-year-old Serena Williams.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Announces her comeback.
Yeah, nobody cares, dude.
Yeah. 44.
That's pretty crazy. That's pretty wild. So, anyways, that was huge. The other bit of news was Odell Beckham. Well,
that's generous.
You know that was coming because I saw a video this week of they were at maybe the softball game, and it was Dart and Neighbors and Beckham, and they were kind of grabbing Odell, grabbing his traps, feeling his shoulders, like doing the "Are you ready to play?" kind of thing. Guy looks good.
Yeah. You know what that might mean?
What does that mean?
Leaky Neighbors not looking so good.
Well, that's the thing. Like some of these videos are disturbing, dude. Seeing him run. Now I know it's a cleanup and we have time till camp. It's 100 days actually today till the NFL opener, but he just doesn't look great. And for the Giants, why do you have him out there? Like, why do you have him out there? All it does is their PR department is getting peppered right now. I mean, the best player on your team, possibly, besides Brian Burns, is on the field playing softball, and it doesn't look like he can run well. He was playing dodgeball. It didn't look like he'd run well, move well, playing dodgeball. He's out there playing softball. I don't know what you think about this as a Giants fan. This is not a good look. Roy Robertson Harris gets pops his ACL or Achilles last week. You already shipped Dexter Lawrence out to Cincinnati. This could be. I was bullish on the Giants a couple months ago. Not so much anymore.
Yeah, the last time OBJ cleared 600 yards was 2019. He's
not to mention the quarterback is not convicted in his beliefs. God damn, dude. You have the floor.
Hey, man.
At least Carter was like, this is what I believe. Just saying.
Dart's just an American, man.
I get it.
He's a patriot.
I get it. I laid it out last show. I'm not going to go back through it again, but I think I nailed it, considering you had the floor. What's it about? I understand the question. I respect the question. It's funny, but yeah, I don't know, man. As a team, I'm not really sure. I'm not sure, and that was the Giants.
Could be another year angling for a top 10 pick if Malik Neighbors isn't ready to go.
From tee shots to game-winning goals and buzzer-beating baskets, make every moment unforgettable with BetMGM. BetMGM gives you access to second-chance promos, odds boost tokens, same-game parlays, and so much more. Check back every day for new promos and offers to take advantage of. And if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code GREENLIGHT, and you'll get up to a $1,500 new player offer on your first wager. BetMGM, make it legendary.
Can I ask you a question?
That's what friends are for.
These outside linebackers,
Yeah.
packaging themselves as edge rushers.
Yeah.
Are they all going to be a part of your defensive line rankings?
I think when you look at rushers, yeah, but to be honest, it does bother me sometimes when we lump everybody together. Like Myles Garrett's a different player than Brian Burns, and I'm not saying he's like he can play with his hand in the ground, that sort of thing. But I'll give you a better example, like Alex Highsmith. He's a backer, dude. Like he's a 2-point stance. He's taking on tight ends. He's he's rushing over backs. He's rushing over tackles a lot too. But like, there's a difference between what you got to do as a defensive end and what you have to do as an outside backer. Not to mention as a defensive end, you might have to reduce. You might have to play inside. Like the versatility factor, as it pertains to defensive line play, tilts heavily towards defensive end. So yeah, if we're doing the ranking, I'm kind of saying pass rushers. And I don't know. I looked at the Eagles. The Eagles have a rich history in defensive linemen. There's a few other teams that pop into my head, like the Vikings. I think have a pretty. Pull up the Vikings all-time sack list. I think the Vikings have a pretty.
John Randall, Jared Allen.
Yep. The Williams brothers, although one was more of a run stopper. Everson Griffin, Jared Allen, Danielle Hunter, not Rosie Greer, but back in the day you had one of my favorites of all time, Chris Dolman, the Purple People Eaters, and so they had a great history, man, like the Vikings as well. There's a couple teams like that, but I think the Rams have a chance when you add those guys from back in the day, the fearsome foursome, to a list like that. It's hard to compete with that.
Cows, you do me a favor and pull up the New York Giants.
Giants are fantastic. Strahan, Lawrence Taylor, OC.
That's another question. What position did Lawrence Taylor play?
Well, he's Lawrence Taylor. He can be on whatever list he wants. Leonard Marshall.
J Tuck, JPP.
Yeah, Tuck. So, I mean, there's some JPP, but for most of his career, it felt like. But he went on to play feels like another decade with like 8 fingers, dude. Like, unbelievable player.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of, am I forgetting any?
Bears? Richard Dent?
Sure. 46 defense, though.
William Perry?
No, it's going to give you the best defensive lines of all time. That's not the...
Sneaky Chiefs? Derek Thomas?
Chris Jones.
Chris Jones. Very sneaky Chiefs.
They're really
So
sneaky.
Yeah,
The Chiefs.
okay.
I mean, they had Jared Allen for quite a while.
Uh-huh.
I can't remember. I don't know if Keith Millard had his big year with the Chiefs. I think you count him more with the Vikings, maybe. I'm not sure. Cowboys, you'd be shocked, man, because they had some guys like Bob Lilly and Randy White and Charles Haley, DeMarcus Lawrence. Yeah, you've got Jim Jeffcoat, Greg Ellis. Yeah, Cowboys are up there. Ed Too Tall Jones.
Micah Parsons.
What about other positions? Like, are there any other positions that maybe a franchise has a known legacy for? I think about corners. I go right to Denver with
I think about
Champ Bailey and then Surtain now. Like, are there any other like Ohio State wide receiver? What about NFL? Are there
Bears
teams that have a
linebackers?
positional history.
Bears linebackers.
Singletary, Urlacher,
Buckus. Not just Urlacher. Lance Briggs, Roquan Smith. The Bears have a great linebacker tradition.
49ers linebackers.
Niners linebackers.
Willis, Bowman,
Willis, Warner. But how far back does it go? So I don't know. Yeah, obviously the answer is yes, but I can't do a whole show on it right now. Oh, I was going to rank the top 5 defensive lines right now. Here's what I have on my list. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
Okay. Now, this is tough. I think you got to go Rams 1. And I think you got to go Rams 1 because of the weight of who they just added. Like the force multiplier factor of having a guy on your team that just like they have to plan for this guy like as if he were Calvin Johnson. The way they used to plan for Calvin Johnson as a receiver. Remember when they had like multiple motherfuckers lined up over there and there weren't as many people over here? It's the same thing with Myles Garrett. You change the entire deal for your defense. And then you obviously have Young, who's got elite production. You've got guys inside, Turner, Fisk. You got Poona Ford. Like, that's kind of a big 3 inside. So I'll give the Rams 1. There's going to be some people that are going to say, no, fuck that. The Hawks are better. But I'll put the Hawks and the Birds next. I think the Hawks with Reed, Murphy, Leonard Williams in the middle, like really elite interior defensive line play. And then a lot of good players outside. Like D-Law's an all-round fucking great player. Always has been. Probably not like a top 5 or top 10 edge rusher. He's not. And neither are like Hall or Nwosu or Fowler's on the team as well. But it's a really nice, deep group. The reason I would put the Birds right below him is because Grenard, while he's a great rusher, and Smith outside, and Jalix Hunt, I don't think they have the depth that the Hawks do, although inside I think they're really elite. Carter, Ajomo, Davis, that's a toss-up between the Hawks and the Birds. I'll put the Hawks second and the Birds third. And then behind them, I think, I had a lot of trouble with this, but I think the Broncos are going to slot ahead of the Texans. I think the Broncos, for me, just having, again, the depth factor of you got guys like Roach, Jones, Ellis. If they still had John Franklin Myers, it'd be a slam dunk. And they'd have a shot at being in the top 3, but they don't. But the headliners for them, Allen, Benito, Cooper. Cooper doesn't get enough credit. Allen obviously has had a couple seasons that are like all pro level. I think we used to call him baby JJ Watt, and he plays like baby prime JJ Watt. I mean, he's just edges all day, like shifty inside, great rusher, fucking disruptive as hell. Obviously, Benito's on a great trajectory in only his 5th year in the league, something like that. So I think the Broncos are probably 4 for me. Reed, do you think that's fair to you guys?
I think this season we're going to really see the impact of JFM.
Yeah,
and we'll see if the Broncos if we can replace him kind of by a committee. That's the plan right now. But,
yeah.
Very much fair.
I put the Texans 5 just because I just love their defense. I know, and the 2 edges are as good as 2 edges go in the NFL. I mean, like, obviously, from a production standpoint, if Young has another year, like he he's been accustomed to having here, then, you Myles Garrett weighs a ton. But I think Will Anderson Jr. and Danielle Hunter, like, just two of the best. And, you got underrated guys like Togai and inside. So a good group. I weight heavily the outside rushers. The other guys I mentioned, were Steelers, Pats. But I don't think the Steelers have – it's hard for me to weight that group as heavily the way that defense played last year. And I've got a ton of respect for Herbig. Obviously T.J. Watt is Hall of Fame talent. He's had a brilliant career, but I don't think he's in his prime, so to speak, right now. You've got Highsmith, who I already talked about. Cam Hayward's still playing. Cam Hayward's kind of an ageless guy, but I just can't put them up there with like the Broncos, and I think the Texans edge rusher situation. The way they got the juice right now. Texans 5, Pats. I kind of wanted to put in this conversation, but I don't think their bag's as deep as other groups. I love the way they play. Guys like Durden, guys you might have never heard of, the way they play, the way they come to the fight, ready to go. And I think Milton Williams is, when it comes to headliners, he had an incredible season last year, and I think Landry's always been underrated, and Barmore's a beast and everything, but I just can't put him in that echelon. The other groups we talked about, that like up and coming groups, kind of on our radar for this year. If they have big years, you can kind of talk about them in this type of light. I think the Panthers, Derek Brown, Jalen Phillips, I like some of their supporting cast players. I've talked a lot about Scorton. I think that guy could be a fixture for them. Maybe not a blue chip type player, but they're fun to watch. I think the Bucs, we talked about in the immediate aftermath of Bain being added to that group, like across the board with Diaby and Vita Vea, and if Kancey can get healthy again, like that's a fucking good team. That's a good front. Rather, what do you think, Noah? Are there any I'm forgetting?
Yeah, Panthers and Bucks are two great call-outs. I think the Titans too could be a group we kind of see elevate through this season. Reed talked about the Broncos losing JFM. That's a big addition for them. And then, of course, they brought in Jermaine Johnson as well to fit Robert Saleh's scheme there. So kind of get some edge guys to fit around Jeffrey Simmons there in the middle. Obviously, they bring in the rookie Keldrick Falk. If he can at least be a solid run defender, it's going to be a pretty good group there in Tennessee. And then the Cowboys, too. I think it's mostly dependent upon how you feel about Rashawn Gary. But Quinnen Williams, I think, in Christian Parker's system, I think he's going to be the kind of true game-changing type player that he has been, but especially in this system, the way Jalen Carter was in Vic Fangio's system in Philly. So I think those two groups, the Titans and Cowboys, we'll be looking at too.
And the Titans, that's a fun team this year. I've already talked about how I'm jumping out of the gym for that win total, but they and you can't forget with the Cowboys, my man Kenny Clark, who kind of you almost felt for him, man. Like everybody was so damn excited about the acquiring of Micah Parsons, but he put together a great career in Green Bay, and then he ends up in Dallas, and a good vet to have in that room, and also still a good player for them. So, it's there's a lot of good D lines in the NFL, and they seem to be most of them in the NFC. When you look at the truly elite ones right now, and two of the absolute best in the NFC West. So those games are going to be physical as a motherfucker, as they usually are, and somehow still high scoring. The Hawks trying to figure out twice a year how to block Myles Garrett. One thing he does, man, he transitions in play action as fast as anybody. You think you can just boot him? You think you can just pap him to death? You're not going to be able to do that. It's going to be, and you talk about like Clint Kubiak being gone. They got some adjustments to make up in Seattle. That's a tough deal, game planning for this guy twice a year. Ooh.
Where would you have ranked the Browns if it's Myles Garrett with Mason Graham?
Well, I think I want to give you the whole picture here because Mason Graham, I know he didn't put up a lot of stats last year, but I think he's a good player. I think Malik Collins is the guy that we love in Cleveland. So, I'd say, And they play hard. Like under Jim Schwartz, they were a hard playing group. They played vertical. They didn't slow down. I would put them as a.
This is begging to be tiered.
I would put them as a. Yeah, it is begging to be tiered, but we'll do that another day. I would have put them as a fringe top 10 unit.
Okay.
Would you say that's fair? I said fringe top 10 because Myles weighs so much to me.
Yeah. Put him higher.
You would?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I shout out the NASCAR package for the New York Giants?
Sure.
Brian Burns, Abdul Carter, Kayvon Thibodeau, Arvell Reese.
No, I love
DJ
that.
Reader in the middle.
There's a lot of speculation on Reese. Reader's up there in years, come off a couple, or an injury, right?
Shelby Harris.
Good group. But it's funny, when you ask Giants fans, they'll tell you Kayvon sucks. Even though he doesn't, he's a good player. I mean, he's been highly productive. Like, what do you want from the guy? Burns is Batman, right? Kayvon's Robin. The thing about Carter is, I think people think he sucks, and he's got a full bag. I don't know how many times I got to tell you this. It just takes a year or two for guys. It's going to be about finishing and their team improving, and he could be 8-10 sacks next year, no problem. Because he was top 10 in the league in pressures. So I would put the Giants up there as one of those up and coming group to watch.
Honorable mention Aiden Hutchinson, Detroit.
Sure.
Lee McNeil.
Sure. Absolutely. I feel good about my top 5. I didn't go much beyond there in the immediate aftermath of this Myles Garrett trade. I think that top 5 is kind of where I'm at. So, but yeah, these are all worth shouting out. I think the Giants, if they had Dexter Lawrence, they might be a top 5 unit.
Now we got the best right guard in football, in CC Maui Noah.
We'll see. We'll see.
All his vertebrae are fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. That's good. There's not much else to talk. Oh, the NBA Finals.
It's a fun one.
Dude, it's really fun. And can I say this? Obviously, I can. I don't know who I'm asking. The Spurs walking into that building, 20 whatever years old most of those guys are, young as hell, young team, walking in there, Game 7. OKC's supposed to have this thing on lock for a half decade. They fucking punched them in the mouth and then never got off them.
Yep.
Never got off them. There was not a moment in the game. I mean, there were a couple little moments where the game got tight, but like they took the fight to those guys and never let up. And I was so blown away as a sports fan. It is rare that I'm really inspired by like what I'm watching and I feel like a fan again. I was inspired by that group. Watching them celebrate on that court. One of my favorite things in sports is watching a team celebrate in an arena that's stunned, that's dead silent. And when you add to the fact that it's a Game 7 and nobody's supposed to win a Game 7 on the road, let alone to a team with all that experience that just won the finals. And, OKC's just quickly become this like the evil team, the flopping team, the dirty team. They went from a small market fun story to like, we fucking hate this team. We need the French guy to take care of this. And the French guy took care of it. And to watch how excited he was, like just overtly emotional and overjoyed to have done it. I know some people were like, more cynical of like sports fans are like, why all the emotion? It's because it means a lot to him, and it means a lot to that team. They play for each other. They really do. And it's a fun story, and I really like that team.
Yeah.
But I'm a Knicks fan, and we are going to have to take care of them. They're too tired to beat the Knicks. This 7-game series. They blew their wad on this series. They're celebrated at half court like they won the championship. They won the Western Conference Finals. Give me the Knicks.
I think it'll be an awesome series. What's the line?
Knicks in 6.
Fairly
Knicks
close.
Series price plus 170
Plus
or so.
170. That should be about right.
For those of you who like to gamble.
Is there ever has there ever been a winner roundly celebrated? Speaking of the Thunder, like mid-90s Bulls, maybe?
Like a ding dong, the witch is dead?
No, like, hey, all these guys do is win and we like them. I think the Spurs could be a group like that.
The Spurs, I think, were, dude. And
Duncan and Robinson.
Yeah, I think it was hard to dislike that team. People didn't like Tony Parker, French, but Ginobili was fun. People like Pop. It's a smaller market. Like, I don't feel like people hated the Spurs.
This group is that again.
It is. And, it was a wild shot to show Wemby and that little coach, which is wild in and of itself. But then they cut to the booth, and it was Tim Duncan and Pop.
Yeah.
And it was like the kind of thing where I don't know if there's an NFL corollary for this, but where a team just goes from one star to the next. Maybe Packers quarterbacks or what have you, but like it's a pretty straight line you draw from the culture that Pop and those guys had to the culture that seems to be passed on
to Four Tits Mitch.
To this group.
Yeah.
Four Tits.
He's always got 4 tits around his head. Mitch Johnson.
Oh yeah,
coach.
he does.
Yeah.
Did you make that up?
Yeah, I just made it up.
4 Tits Mitch. Yeah. That's good. I might start calling him that. I mean, he does, dude. What have we met any of these women?
No, I don't think so. Not yet. They have another 2 weeks though. They'll be starting.
Oh, dude, how about that?
Yeah, something to look forward to.
That's crazy if you're into that.
Yep.
Damn. That's crazy.
I think it's going to be a great series.
I think it's going to be a great series.
Great series.
I also think it's good for the NBA, dude. It's good for the NBA. I was saying this to our resident bronze sexual, Tanner, earlier. As a casual, it's been a half a decade since LeBron, he matters a lot. I'm not saying that, but since he was the guy.
Yeah.
And it's quiet as kept. The league has moved on, and I thought what Jokic did was incredible.
Yeah,
the whole face of the game thing is interesting because to me, is it harder to pass the torch to a big? It feels like people were like, yeah, Jokic might be one of the best ever to do it. There's a faction that argues that, and I've heard a lot of former players say that, but it's hard to pass the torch to a big, albeit a European big, right? It's kind of like boxing, where people are like, yeah, it's okay, we need a heavyweight. The NBA needs ideally a guard, a scorer, a shooter, for everything that Jokic does. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying fans want a Jordan, Kobe, SGA if he weren't such a flopper, he played in a bigger market or something. But Wemby might actually be the cheat code. He might be the fucking cheat code.
It's weird because he asked to be introduced as a forward. At forward.
Yes.
Victor Wembanyama. KD has this whole thing where he's clearly 7 feet tall plus, but wants to be 6'11".
Yeah.
All of these kids growing up having guard skills, they don't want to be the big.
They don't want to be the big.
They don't want to be back to the basket, and they aren't.
And we don't want the big.
Right. That's a bygone era. This guy's pretty big.
Oh, he's big, but again,
Big
he
good.
calls himself forward. He's draining threes from the logo, and he's guarding anywhere on the court. And I mean, and you know what I love about him as a sports fan is the psychology behind the guy. He's a dog, dude, and he's a great teammate. You can tell he's a leader. He's a great teammate, and this guy's anti-BS. This team's kind of the anti-BS team, dude. And so was OKC. And I think also it's anti-super team. For the longest time, it felt like for me, it was just about where the star is going. And now it's about how are you constructing your team. Mm-hmm. And I'm not an NBA head, but it's clear to me that there's been an obvious change in the weather there.
Yeah.
This is kind of fun that teams actually building the right way, get rewarded, and you can fall in love with the role players. It's not as much about where's KD going, because how's that working out? And I'm not that's not an indictment on KD. I was a huge KD fan. Sometimes I forget what team he's on.
Houston.
No, I know now.
Yeah, Spurs hit on 2 of those draft picks, and Stephon Castle and Dylan Harper.
I love Castle. I love Harper. I love Champagny.
Yeah.
He was a Sixer.
Yes. Waived to make room for Mac McClung.
Fox, dude.
Smooth.
Guess who else is on that team? Barnes.
Luke Cornett.
Oh, Cornett, that block.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the biggest plays of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Cornett has all those nuns in the stands.
Mm-hmm.
The nuns.
Yep.
He got the nuns to leave the monastery to come down to the Big Spur to watch them play, to watch Cornett play. So they're just a fun team. And yeah, like I was going to say, Harrison Barnes is on the team. They got like smart veterans that they acquired to like build culture. You can tell culture is really important to them. Because I was kind of getting tired of the other NBA. I was. It wore off on me.
Well, the Knicks team is fun too.
And we haven't even mentioned the Knicks.
College teammates.
One key signing in Karl Anthony Towns that everybody likes to make fun of the guy, but he's an X factor.
Mm-hmm. And
here we are. This is one of the most anticipated NBA finals in a long time, in my opinion.
Agreed.
It feels that way, and trust me, because I'm on the fringes of NBA fandom at this stage of my life. Not because I don't like the NBA, but because I work in football, and I only have so much gas left in the tank after the season ends. When I was younger, it was my favorite thing, the NBA and the NBA playoffs. And it feels like it's kind of back. Now, the first and second rounds and all that shit, it was pretty trash this year. They got to figure that whole thing out. But if you can get more serious like that Western Conference Finals and an OKC San Antonio rivalry, that's going to be a rivalry, dude.
Yep.
A rivalry.
Rest of the decade.
You got to find a dance partner for the Knicks.
Well,
WizKids.
The Wizards, my ass.
I think you have several. They're just all in a different tier.
Yeah.
Madison Square Garden, just going to be great.
This is going to be great. And we got the trophies back on the court.
Yeah. I care less about the trophies than I do the script. I like the script better.
Yeah.
Finals is back.
No, that's great.
It's all going to be good. And I saw this. I think the Knicks are wearing white at home. They've committed to wearing white at home, which is how it should be, which is what we grew up with. Ain't none of this city edition.
Fuck the city edition. Those black uniforms are disgusting.
Yes.
Disgusting.
Spurs can wear black.
Look at that Josh Hart with the Finals logo above it. Holy shit, dude. I feel like a kid again. Which means this weekend's in tragedy. We're just going to get swept or something. If it's going to go like it went the last time they were in the finals. But 90, what was it, 93? 94? I felt like I was watching the Knicks play the Rockets when OJ was on his chase.
99?
No, I know 99 was the Spurs series. But the first one was 90, I can't remember the year. 94. Yeah. Knicks Rockets. O.J. Simpson car chase.
Yeah. June. Yep.
Pretty wild. Here we are again. So, anyways, I think that's everything on the list.
Russell Wilson?
Oh, rumors. Packers and Cardinals. Good point, Reed. We'll get there. Packers and Cardinals are working on a trade involving star DN Josh Sweat. Per Easton Butler. Just a throw in for you. Is that the guy who was just who was talking about the Myles Garrett rumor?
That was him. Right? He is actually a Packers writer, so maybe he has.
It was funny last night. We were looking at that tweet and we were kind of like, I don't know. Mm-hmm. This guy's
we do have heater. We do have full trade terms for the Myles trade. Browns received Jared Verse.
Yeah.
Browns received Jared Verse, 2027 first, 2028 second,
yeah,
and a 2029 third.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. I think
not enough.
It's not enough. It's not enough. Now they're gonna say Jared Verse counts like he's a 1, and I guess the bird in hands, worth 2 in the bush or whatever they say. Macon, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I don't know. I think the Rams come off looking pretty fucking good here, dude.
Proof of concept. They've already after them picks and won a Super Bowl. So
And
doing it again.
Not to mention, dude, their picks are all high picks.
Mm-hmm.
They're low picks, depending on how you win. It's like turn the AC up or down. I don't know how to say that, but
not great picks.
Yeah. So, a bunch of teams looking at the Rams, like fans looking at the Rams, being like, "Why can't my team do this type of shit?" It just feels like the Rams do what they want, dude. They go for it. There's a couple GMs in our game that are like, "Fuck the rules,"
and they win.
It also helps when you're playing with house money and you're known to be one of them dudes, and your team's won before. You can say fuck the rules, and I'm gonna do what I want.
Can you name the Rams 3 first-round draft selections since 2016?
Jared Verse.
Oh shit.
Jared Goff and Ty Simpson.
Nailed it.
That's crazy. Holy shit. They just don't pick in the first. I wonder why. Me and my friends from back in the day. But honestly, I didn't know there were so few. And they got the whole reputation, but that's crazy.
F them.
And they're 2 for 2 prior to Ty Simpson's. I would say Jared Verse was a hit.
Yep.
Wow. So the other thing that happened is Russell Wilson retired. Legacy talk. I think he was a fabulous player. I think he made magic happen. I can't tell you how many times we went up there and we're in a game, and albeit a low-scoring game, it wasn't like we were in a shootout with them or anything like that. So, take from that what you will. But even if it was 17-13 or 9-7, it was like he always found a way to go for the kill shot in the fourth, and it usually was a moon ball. It was usually a break the pocket, bail to 15 yards, roll out left, turn his body, fucking rifle a punt down the field. Perfectly thrown ball that would land right in the hands of some decent receiver. That was another thing. When you look at his legacy, I would say, if you're a detractor, you say, hey, the guy rolls up, he plays in the Super Bowl his first 2 out of his first 3 years. LOB's in full swing. They got Marshawn Lynch. They're playing in front of the 12s. He truly walked into a fantastic situation and a great franchise, right? But he was able to cash all that in. And he also didn't play in front of, in Seattle at least, an elite pass blocking unit. They played bully ball, and then on third down he had to make a lot of the magic happen. And then, you talk about like pass catchers. I don't know that he ever had like what you would call a full deck. He had some very good players. Like I hate the term role player because you kind of think of role player as like a bench guy, but we need a new term for that. Like,
right, I don't think Tyler Lockett's a role player.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Really good.
He was a good player. Mm-hmm. He had some good players.
There you go. That's a good one.
He had some good players to throw the ball to, but nobody, I don't think they ever had like.
We were never tiering that group.
No, we were never tiering that group. And so, I would just encourage people, when you look at him and you say, hey, it was just the LOB or it was just Marshawn or whatever, like there were also things that were stacked against him when it came to running a passing offense. And the other thing about him is at the time he was drafted and drafted late, right? Like he was an outlier in a lot of ways. Like, number one, shortest quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl.
There you go.
5'11",
Yep.
shorter than Breeze, shorter than those other guys. I don't want to be hyperbolic, but I do think he opened the doors he opened a lot of little doors for guys, dude.
Yeah,
You
in
know?
an era with 6'5" Manning and Brady.
Yes, and another thing is, say the quiet part out loud. Black quarterback, man. I mean, like, I think in today's NFL, like, we're past that thing. I'm not saying we're past it 100%, but like, in the not too distant past, there were guys that had to go play in the CFL. I mean, and it's fucking crazy. And a guy like Russell Wilson, being able to do what he's done in the game has advanced the ball. And I think he's important in a lot of ways. He's got an important legacy in a lot of ways.
Durable
too. And a lot of fun to watch and fun to cover, even though sometimes you were like having fun at the expense of whatever the quote was, because sometimes like it would just come out kind of funny.
Yes.
And the Mr. Unlimited and all that stuff. He also played in a lot of wacky games, dude. Like, you think about and part of this is just the Seattle thing. Like, I don't know whose fan base it is now that says we've never played in a normal football game, but like Seattle didn't play in a lot of normal football games, man. You had the Fail Mary. You had I'll never forget this one because I used to hate watch them. I used to hate watch Russell Wilson and the Seahawks because they were in our division. I remember, I'll never forget watching them play Green Bay and beat them in the playoffs and how unfair that looked to me. It's like, oh, onside kick, guy drops the ball, moon ball to end the game, right? Like, it was just the magical things that happened in that building. And then the crazy things that happened, like the Super Bowl, like the curse circus catch only to end with an interception at the 1 yard line. I'll never forget the time Geno went to Seattle, or when Geno was in Seattle, and they opened the season with Russ in Denver, and Russ was such a villain at that time that it felt like the whole world wanted Geno to win, and he did. And then it's just crazy to think about, like, the amount of dead cap that Denver had to eat. Like, he's had an interesting damn career, dude.
Part of it. It's part of the legacy.
There was the Pittsburgh chapter where you were like, oh, he might be the guy here.
Don't forget New York.
Well, yeah, I did. No, but I know he was there, but I don't remember what happened.
Is it interesting that he gets no blame, I think, for the Malcolm Butler play and game because of the play call?
It is interesting. I mean, I think he deserves a lot of blame for that. I mean, people throw in the modern NFL down on the goal line. Like, that's not abnormal. But I think a lot of that goes the credit. I like, not to absolve him of it. Certainly Bevel gets a lot of it, the hate, right? Bevel for making the call. But also Malcolm Butler should and does get a lot of credit, and the Patriots get a lot of credit for being ready for that call. They were ready for that call. He jumped that route. That was preparation. So, and we hear the Patriots talk about like the behind the scenes of it. Of course, never miss an opportunity to say we plan to do that. Mm-hmm. They never miss that opportunity in New England. We're the only team that plans to do anything. But yeah, no, I thought it was fun. It was fun to watch Russ play, and it was tough to rush him. But when you rush Russell Wilson, he's going to give you a couple too, because he's trying to make that magic happen, and a lot of times he did. And I can count on more than one hand the amount of times that I was on the ground, and I just had a handful of Russell's jersey, and all of a sudden I'm on the ground, and I'm hearing the crowd go fucking apeshit because he threw a bomb. He shook you off, threw a bomb, and the ball's 50 yards down the field. So he was that type of player. Tremendous vision. You talk about for being a 5'11" guy, he had tremendous vision late in the down. Yep, he was special. Russ was special. Is he a Hall of Famer?
Yeah.
I think so. 10 Pro Bowls.
Yeah.
That's the way this thing works. He won a Super Bowl, 10 Pro Bowls. I think he is. Am I passionate about the Hall of Fame and, what it takes to get in, or do I fully understand, like, the formula with every player? No. But I think he's a Hall of Famer. I'm not going to argue with that.
I think he is, and if he stops playing in Seattle, doesn't go to Denver, etc.,
Yeah.
we feel a lot better about it.
Probably. He's going to be on TV.
I see that, CBS.
He's going to be on TV with my brother. So, two kids from actually Kyle and Russ used to play each other in baseball growing up. They're two great baseball players too. So I look forward to the next chapter for Russ. Congratulations on a great career. It's fantastic. Mr. Unlimited to Canton. That speech will be electric.
Yeah, can't wait.
I woke up this morning, there's no NFL news. Boom, Myles Garrett trade. Boom, Odell Beckham back in New York. Russell Wilson retires. Josh Sweat, possibly a Packer in the near future. A.J. Brown is finally a Patriot. The haul looks like this for the Eagles: 2027 fifth-round pick, 2028 first-round pick. I knew it wasn't going to be a Waddle haul. I told you that. And I don't think it has to do with the reporting that happened on the player. I think it has everything to do with the way the player played in crunch time last season and everything we saw on the sidelines and everything we heard off the field. You didn't need reporters to report on what was happening. You could see it with your own two eyes, and that's why the haul looks like it looks. And so I think for the Eagles fans, a lot of them are thinking long national nightmare is over, and I agree. Pending a physical, which is now a lot more than a footnote at the bottom of these graphics, especially with what happened to Crosby earlier in the offseason, and the fact that the Rams allegedly balked at A.J. Brown's physical. So this might not be the last we hear about it, but if it is the beginning of the honeymoon stage in New England. And it makes a lot of sense for the Patriots. Drake May throws about as good a deep ball as anybody at his age, especially in the game. And he's got a guy who can track a deep ball, who can catch a deep ball, at least customarily. Yeah, Dobbs. You got Boutte, who's not a throw-in on this trade, as we suspected he might be. That's good for the Patriots. They have a really well-rounded group. And I've heard GMs say this: when you play in a Super Bowl, when you win a Super Bowl, whatever it is, and the Patriots were right there, you have to stay aggressive. You can't be complacent. This is them being aggressive. This is them trying to cash in on a rookie window. And Mike Vrabel has that old thing back. He missed A.J. Brown. He's been trying to get him back since that whole debacle in Tennessee. So he's got his guy. A.J. is going to be on his best behavior. That's what makes this trade great. For a year, at least, he's going to be on his best behavior. And this is the window that you have to cash in on for the Patriots to talk about that rookie deal window for a quarterback all the time. It basically ends up being for the Eagles. And I know there's a lot of people, as they write his Philly eulogy today, that fucking hate the guy. And I'm not gonna try to dissuade you from doing so. But what I am gonna say is it kind of worked out pretty good. You kind of leased the guy for 4 years, and you swap a 3 and a 5, but he held his value. You leased a beautiful sports car for 4 years. You drove it to the beach. You had some good times. You met your wife in that car. You get a Super Bowl championship. You don't win the Super Bowl without A.J. Brown. You can say whatever you want to say about the guy, but you don't win a Super Bowl without A.J. Brown. He unlocked a beautiful connection. When it was good between him and Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, one of the best deep ball throwers in the game. He needed a dance partner. He got it in A.J. Brown, and people thought they stole him from Tennessee. And for 4 years, he did 1,000 yards a year, and he helped you win a Super Bowl. I think it was a pretty good rental, and now you're able to get out from under it. So the guy held his value, a lot of mileage on the car, and you get the same thing you paid, basically, for the dude. And I think everybody's happy because the Eagles are now moving on. It's a new era in that wide receiver room. And the leader is Devontae Smith. You can think of a better guy to be your number one as far as the way he relates to younger players, the way he probably affects other people in the room, the quarterback, everything. And then you add Mekhi Lemon, you add Dontavian Wicks, and others in free agency this offseason. I think it's a new look room and one that I'm excited about. And I'm excited for Drake May as well. But you weren't going to get that A.J. Brown in Philly this year. It was something you had to do. And for the Patriots, you got to cash in on that window. Any other rumors before we turn this thing off?
I saw John Mulaney this weekend.
Yeah, how was that?
It was awesome. I felt, can I say something earnestly? Felt like I was in the presence of greatness.
Really?
Yeah. It was awesome.
Isn't that kind of you're kind of jacking yourself off there because it's like you're big.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. It was in Richmond.
He came to Richmond.
Yeah, and you'll like this. It was a 4:00 show. We got made fun of a lot by the performers. There were two openers that we were the 4:00 show. There was an 8:00 show too. A lot of love for the 4:00 show. You see a show, then you go out to dinner. Kind of a nice setup.
Yeah.
But he said he came on about 4:15, or the first act did. And he was like, "Hey, sorry we got started a little late. The crew and I came across Stonewall Jackson's death site." And then proceeded to make fun of the Confederate
Confederacy?
history. Yeah, that's pretty good. It's good stuff.
You got to be careful with that. A lot of people it means a lot to a lot of people, I found out.
Well,
in recent.
And this was at the Altria Theater, formerly the Mosque and the Landmark Theater, which is known to be haunted. And about 3/4 of the way through the show, during a political rant of John's, the power went out.
No way.
Very fucking spooky. He made the most of it too.
No way.
A lot of low-hanging ghost jokes were made.
Okay.
And then he had to yell the act for about 5 minutes.
No way.
Yeah.
With the lights
like
off.
Security started to go toward the front. Nobody knew if it was what the deal was.
Like
lights were off.
That Super Bowl. Yeah. The Ravens.
Great show. Texted Russillo. We talked about.
Yeah, Fish did.
Talked about how in command he is. Top of his game.
Yeah, he's sick.